today will be the first Astar Tech Talks. The uh, the, um, the topic will be using Covalent to analyze on-chain data on Astar. So today's agenda will be first of all, I will make a quick introduction about Astar Network, and I will pass the stage to Lebing, and he will make an introduction about Covalent, and he will be running some demo, and I will be taking some questions, and Lebing will be answering them. All right, so just to get started, so ASAR, as you guys know, is the future of smart contracts for multi-chain. And mainly, as an innovation hub, we have three main value proposition. The first one being the WASM smart contracts, and we believe that in the future of WASM smart contracts as being like the superior smart contracts development environment for blockchain. And the second one is the dApp staking, which is an innovative mechanism where we incentivize the developers to build dApps on Astar by giving them a part of the block rewards as a basic income from the day one of their building. Because, as you know, smart contracts development and Web3 business is really hard to get started with and could be costly from day one. So that's the part where we are trying to support the devs and make it as user friendly as possible from day one. And the last one being XVM, which is a cross virtual machine, which is really unique to us because there's a lot of WASM smart contracts environment like Cosm WASM or Near, but we feel like the core difference for us is that we are not trying to compete against EVM, but rather trying to coexist with EVM because we believe that there is better points for EVM as well. So that's what we're trying to solve with XEVM, where devs can not only build on Solidity and I mean on EVM and WASM, but also cross VM, so where they can make a call from one VM to other VM. So these are kind of the top value proposition for us, as you guys may know. Okay, so what are the tech talks? So this is something new that we came up with. So this is actually what we rebranded from Fireside Chats. So we had a couple of Fireside Chats previously, but the thing was like the name kind of sounded not too attractive. That's some of the feedback we got from our internal members. So we decided to rebrand it to Astar Tech Talks. So it sounds more professional. I hope it will be, but yeah. So the main so what we're covering in Astar Tech Talks is mainly from the developers to developers, as Lebing is part of the developers from Covalent team, so he'll be delivering like dev-focused topics, and also more into like a deep dive topics, and also in a really close session we'll be getting some Q&As, and also last but not least, enable developers to build powerful dApps on Astar and Sheeted networks through this Astar Tech Talks. So that's what we hope to achieve through this session. All right, so now is the showtime for Lebing. So could you take over the screen and share about Covalent and do some demo, please?
Thank you, Ryu. Let me just try to see if I can share the right screen. I've not really used Crowdcast before. I'm going to share a Chrome a window, and it should be this one. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yep, I see your GitHub, yeah.
Yes, right? Okay, awesome. So I'm going to just start with a quick introduction of what Covalent is before moving on to give a quick demo of the kind of data that you can get. The title of this talk is Analyzing Astar On-Chain Data with Covalent API, which we call ourselves One Unified API. But I don't think I'm going to get that deep into the analysis part of it. Rather, I'm going to show you how you can get on board and started in just getting the data and knowing what the various streams of data offering is versus how you traditionally do it, which in most cases is using libraries like ethers.js or connecting directly to an EVM node using JSON RPC. So Covalent is another way for you to get on-chain data. I'll briefly touch on why there's a need for Covalent solution, and then give you a demo. So blockchain technology is great, right? It allows us to have immutable properties to data, which in the world of fast deletes, fast writes, it was impossible. So with the blockchain ledger, it allowed us this property of immutability, which allowed us to create ledgers and financial systems. But the problem with that is that data, especially on the EVM, can be very hard to get, especially at the aggregated forms. JSON RPC, if you have used it before to build dApps, it is like a point query approach. I want one small piece of information. I make one request and I get that one small piece of information, right? It is not too bad, but often that means that when you're building very, very small Lego blocks. And sometimes for certain kinds of data, it is very prohibitively tedious for you to get, right? So that's why we saw that there was a problem with getting aggregated data in a consistent manner. And we developed this solution, which works across all EVM chains and up to 40 chains that we support. So you learn it once, you can kind of use that skill across all chain without needing to learn a new kind of way of calling data, etc. So of course, if you host your own node, it is expensive for lots of us, which is why we use certain like providers like Infura, Alchemy, or in this case, you use something like Covalent to get your data. So the blockchains themselves, of course, host the produce the blocks, which stores the data exposed via nodes. And we see ourselves as providing this data layer, as being this data layer, and basically giving structure to unstructured blockchain data and exposing them as endpoints for our developers to consume. Yep, this is Covalent's official marketing slogan. I wouldn't repeat it. But you can query our API from the cloud, from the browser. It's a traditional REST API, very simple to query, right? You can use fetch in JavaScript. You can use Axios library. You can use curl on your browser, whatever, and no code required, technically. You just need to be able to pass and analyze the JSON data. And if you're a analyst, for instance, right, there's a button for you to convert it to CSV, right? For you to directly download it into your sheets or into Google Excel, right? And it's super easy. So these are some of the popular use cases that we have. And with more than 30,000 developers working with us today. We have two classes of data, what we call Class A endpoints and Class B endpoints. Class C endpoints are not released yet. Class A endpoints are the endpoints that expose you to data that is consistent across all blockchains, right? Like, for instance, balances data, transactions data, log events, and stuff. Class B is protocol specific. For instance, Uniswap, like DEX data, or balancer data, or like an Aave data. Like, these are protocol specific data that we expose as well. Okay, let me just quickly take you guys through the docs so that you can get started. This is our documentation site. And you can just Google, right? You'll land the link. And this is the all the Class A endpoints. As you can see, you can get lots of NFT related data. You can get lots of like balances related data, good for building wallets, dashboards, whatever, transactions related data, right? And also, all these are the chains that we support. For Astar, we support your mainnet as well as Astar Shaded as well. So Ethereum, Matic, etc., etc. And all you need to do is to get an API key and begin calling this. You can call it from the context of your browser as well, and it'll give you a response here. So for me, I like to call it via Postman. We have created like a Postman collection that you guys can fork and use in your own Postman workspace. And I'm just gonna get you guys the link here. Just gonna drop it in the chat so that you guys can quickly integrate. So this is a tutorial that we've written on how to start integrating Postman and calling all endpoints that we have from the comfort of a browser. I've just dropped it into the chat here. So I've already forked it into my workspace and provided my API key in here, so I can start calling endpoints, right? So let's do this exercise. I am on the Astar network, right? And just now I was looking for a random address. And I found that there is this address that I have. Oh, okay. So I know that this is the address. How do I then get his or her on-chain data? I copy the address. All you need to do is this a typical GET request, right? Chain ID I've set to the Astar chain ID, which in this case I believe is what is it?
592 or something.
Yeah, 592. That's right. And
yeah,
then
I remember because I've used it so many times.
Nice, man. And then I paste this here, paste the address here, and this is the balances endpoint. And let's give it a go. And there you go. You have this this wallet's balance here, returned as the response. And this is the balance. And as you can see, I think it tallies 397 Astar token. Is it this wallet? Oh, this is a wallet with lots of transactions. So I think this one changes pretty quickly. 3971. So yeah, it's kind of changed in the moment before this where I loaded. And then you got the latest balance. And why is it so big? Because it's in Way. And the fastest way to convert it to something that we are more familiar with is to take this thing and divide it by 10 to the power of the contract decimal, which in this case is 18, right? And then you'll get it in the ETH format. So this is the balances endpoint that you can get. You know, in this case, this person only holds a Astar token, but if this address holds lots of tokens, you'll get lots of the balances. And you can use it to feed into your front-end UI, such as a wallet interface, where you need to display all the tokens that it has. Or if you're building a bridge, and then you want to select which asset you want to bridge over to which other network, that little bridge UI there, you can use this to very quickly get a person's wallet balance. So this is one of our most powerful and popular endpoints that we have. We also have this thing called a historical portfolio value of a wallet. So let's say I want to see what's the historical portfolio value of an address. I can use this endpoint. You can get all the token holders as of any block height. Let's say you've got an NFT collection on Astar, right? Ryo, would you know any NFT collections that that you like on Astar Network?
Astar Degens.
Astar Degens? All right.
Yeah.
Let's
Degens.
check it out. So
one of our members also said
Degens contract address. Would you guys know the contract address by any chance? If you know, just drop it.
I'll try my best to get it out. If somebody knows it, please paste it in the chat if you know
Yes.
the contract address for Astar
If
DJing.
not, I'm just gonna see their their docs. Maybe it's in the docs. Maybe it's not.
It's listed on Tofu NFT, which is like OpenSea for Astar. So maybe you could find a contract address there.
Okay, let's try. Let's try. It's
Yeah,
not this one.
no space between Astar and Degens.
Awesome. So we've got Astar Degens, and I assume this is the Block Explorer.
Oh yeah, I think I got it. Yeah. Maybe it's this one.
This I think a user, but I'm sure this is
I
Astar
sent
Degen.
the contract address on
Oh, you send the contract address?
message. Yeah, I think this one is correct.
Awesome. So let's give it a go. Let's say you've got Astar Degen contract address, and you want to find out who are the Astar Degen token holders. Let's see if this works. Right. It worked. Yay.
Oh wow.
Let's take a look.
The
So
list of Degens.
the list of Degens, yeah, that's right. We're gonna shame this list. Nah, kidding. You guys are great.
The best Degens.
So this is a list of Astar Degens, and as you can see, we have let's see what are the fields that it support, right? We have got this contract address. So this is the address of one Astar Degen who has 70 Degens, right? Wait, well, this guy's got 90. I think it's arranged by who owns the most Astar Degen. This person has 179. Let's check out this person's address. So you see, it's quite fun when you get into it and start analyzing who holds how much of what.
That's real Degen.
That's a real Degen right there. So let us just put his address in the balances one and take a look at what kind of token he holds. And at the same time, let us search for his address here. Oh, he holds lots of random tokens, as you know, befitting for a degen. And as you can see, these are all the tokens that he holds, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put it into his balances endpoint. He holds some USDT as well, Starlay, Bearing-Dai, USDC. So if you're familiar with developing that wallet interface with JSON RPC, just this step alone will take you lots of time because you will need to find out which are the contract address of the token he holds and then supply it into the core along with the ABI of the token. So let's say this person holds like how many let's say he holds 50 tokens. You have to supply 100 pieces of information just to get that page. Whereas here, it's a matter of one API call. So that's basically the value proposition of Covalent. For this kind of aggregated data, we help you get to where you need to really quickly. Yep. And then let's just take a look at this Degen's NFTs as well. You can use this get token balances endpoint to also return NFTs. And how you do that is to set the query params, NFT equals to true. So sometimes it takes quite long because you host so many NFTs. So let's see. Okay, so this is also a common error when querying for NFTs, which a new upgraded balances V3 endpoint will solve. So this is balances V2, and our team is working quite hard to work on a balances V3. So connection to third upstream third-party service timeout. When we get the NFT metadata, which is typically stored in some other decentralized service like IPFS, for instance, sometimes the connection is like broken, and we are unable to fetch that metadata. So an improved version of this balances endpoint will be able to solve this problem. Let's say maybe that person held too many A-star degens, and it was hard to get. But let's say this person holds 15 A-star degens. Let's see if this will be all right. Okay, so I think maybe there is a problem with the third-party service, and when we receive this error, it's not much we can do on our end, unfortunately. But typically, you will be able to get NFT metadata on this. So maybe it's a collection-specific issue. Why not we go to Tofu NFT and see whether there's another kind of like, how about A-star sandwich?
Yeah, let's do the Astar sandwich.
Let's do it. It's the sandwich, right?
Hi all.
Oh,
hi guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey.
So yeah, we also have one more member joining. Yep.
Oh, hi.
Hello, it's Astar Network.
He's
Hey,
Astar
man.
Network.
He is Astar Network himself.
Hey, so just
Yes. So from to okay.
One question
Mm-hmm.
from the team. Is it possible to surface NFT price data on Covalent?
Very good question. Yeah. So if you think about what NFT price is, right? It is literally the last traded price, right? And so we used to have an endpoint that returns you the NFT price floor, but the endpoint is currently under maintenance. Although you can get the NFT last traded price just by following the transactions that the NFT have been. It takes a bit of filtering, but since you asked, let's try to do it right now. Let's say we've got this NFT, right? I think it's a A-star witch or something, and okay. Is this the token contract? No.
You can find the contract address on Tofu NFT.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So let's say this one. Where's the contract address for this? I should be able to find it here though, right?
Let's see.
Interacted to with, so this one, market NG. So I think this contract is the like marketplace contract, right? If I'm not wrong.
It's the one I just sent on the chat.
Oh, this is the contract address for the witch?
Yep.
Oh, nice. Okay, so let's try to give it a go. We've got this endpoint called the get NFT transactions for contract. And let's input the let me just get the name correct. Astar sandwich. Let us try to find the Astar sandwich transactions. And let's say we want to find the Astar sandwich 9018. Oh, this is, you need to put in the token ID here, I believe. So, okay, the results, let me try to open it up in a different tab. Maybe I'll create like a new file. Astar. Okay, you guys, wait, are you guys seeing my Atom editor, or it's still on my browser?
I'm seeing your browser.
Oh, okay. If that's the case, let me JSON converter online. Just gonna open it up a little bit bigger. It's not much better, but okay, let's just go use this then. So we see the Astar sandwich, right? We see the NFT transactions. We see this is one transaction, and you see the value here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually a transfer event with a value,
mm-hmm.
and another transfer event.
Mm-hmm.
So another transfer event. Some of them don't have values, which means it is just a transfer. So this is the part about the tricky thing about interpreting this response. It takes a little bit of work to interpret the response. And that's because every single transaction of an NFT will emit an event, right? Not all events are sales events. So to get the last price or the price history of an NFT, you're basically trying to extract all the sales events from the transaction here. And unfortunately, that's currently the best method for getting the last sales price of an NFT, which is why we are creating this whole category of endpoints called Class C endpoints. Class C endpoints allow you to kind of like create your custom endpoint using a SQL query against our database. So it kind of allows you to just isolate those sales events, and then from those sales events, you'll be able to quickly get like a price history. It's currently still under heavy development, so I don't have anything to show for you guys, but yeah, it will be available at some point, and using those class of endpoints, you'll be able to get the price of NFTs. But yeah, for this, hopefully I can give you a sense of how you can get all the transactions that a specific NFT token address has been through. So if you isolate this, you can see that the token ID 09018 has been through quite a few transactions, with this one having a value, right? So it should be like a sales event of sorts. Let's just double check. It is signed on 12th of October. It has a value of there's a event on 13 October actually. Is there one on 13 October? But this one has a value of 50 Astar. So I think it is this transaction. I think this is just the time zone adjustments. But it is this transaction, and this is the value that's been transferred. And yeah, although the log event is a transfer event, right? Within the context of this marketplace, which executed the transfer, it is a sales event. So that is the other thing that's a bit tricky. On OpenSea, a sales event emits orders matched. So instead of seeing transfer here on OpenSea, at least the previous version of OpenSea, not the new Seaport contract, the Winter Wyvern contract. The Winter Wyvern contract emits an orders match transfer event, and that is how you use to identify that this is actually like a sales. On Seaport, I think it is order fulfilled or something, and that is actually a sales event. So the event that's emitted determines whether something is a sales transaction or not, and it varies across different contracts and also across different versions of contracts.
So why don't we now move on to Q&As? I feel like there will be some questions from the community as well, and we have some questions that we want to ask from our side as well. So
okay, definitely. So yeah, I got a bit distracted here, but hopefully through that little bit of exploration, you can get a sense of what kind of data that Covalent has to offer, and you can play around with it. Just hop on to the Postman and get an API key, plop it in there, and start making calls and just playing around with data. I don't think I'll need to show you guys how to, then integrate it into whatever stack that you're using, right? You can integrate it in JavaScript or React or whatever.
So I feel like through the demo, it was pretty clear that Covalent is really good for analyzing Astar degens, but for the dev side, what kind of projects do you guys see being built on Covalent?
Okay, let me show you one recent project that was actually built on FMOS hackathon. Let me just dev pose FMOS. So this project ended up winning the hackathon, and it uses the Covalent API, and this just ended like a week ago. So I believe it's this one.
So this hackathon was specifically for Covalent, I guess? Or was it like more like a native?
This one is for FMOS.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, they I think Huobi helped them organize this hackathon, and it was a pretty successful one. And this project just happened to use our API. This is not the demo, sorry. The where did I? Sorry, too many tabs. This one. So if you take a look at this, it's pretty interesting. This looks a bit like Nansen, if you're familiar with Nansen.
Yep, of course.
So all this, most of it is being pulled with Covalent data. And you see like the ERC20 tokens on FMOS. You see the top NFT collections with their volume. And I think they managed to somehow get the price floor data using the transactions method, most probably. And yeah, they got some DeFi kind of like analytics as well, because all it takes is to analyze the uh, liquidity pool information for you to get these.
So I think like for these data tracking protocols, like the freshness of the data is really important, but how fresh is data fetched from Covalent? Like for example, if I make a transaction right now, like on Astar, how long would it take to be refreshed?
Yes. So what is the block time of Astar?
12 seconds.
12 seconds. The latency of Covalent API is 2 block times.
I
So
see.
if you make the transaction now,
Hmm.
you will be able to get the updated API call in like 24 seconds. Yeah.
I
So
see. I see.
let's say you use Covalent APIs to get Ethereum data. That will be like 14 seconds per block ish, and that will be like around 30 seconds
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
you'll be able to get the data. So two
But
block times.
I see. I see. So is there any limits though for the Covalent APIs? Like for example, if you need to
Yes.
extend the limits, like what should I do for it?
Yeah. Currently, there is on the free tier, like our API will always be free. On a free tier, there is a rate limit of 5 calls per second,
Hmm.
which we believe is like sufficient for most development kind of like workflows, right?
Hmm.
But definitely not sufficient if your app is growing and scaling.
Hmm.
So we've gotten a lot of requests to up the rate limit, and then my team is kind of coming up with a pricing plan and policy.
I see. I see.
It's not in place right now, but we're hoping to roll it out by the end of year.
Hmm.
And that one, I think you can go up to 20 or 30 requests per second at like, let's say $50 a month or something.
Oh, I see. I see.
Hmm.
Also, what's the future plans for Covalent? I mean,
So I think,
yeah.
yeah, just now I mentioned a little bit like endpoint improvements. You saw that
Hmm.
the balances endpoint, especially when it comes to getting NFT, was not perfect.
Hmm.
So we're upgrading our balances endpoint. We're also trying to upgrade our transactions endpoint.
Hmm.
That's one. Secondly, is of course coming out of a paid plan so that the larger scale users will be able to scale their apps a bit better. Thirdly, we are also releasing an analytics product called Increment, which allows you to basically build dashboards without
Hmm.
really getting into the code. You just write SQL, and then
Yep.
you can get all the data that you need. So it's good for analysts or like researchers,
Yep.
basically. That one is currently in beta,
So
and
it's basically
yeah,
like Dune Analytics, right?
yeah, you can say it's pretty similar.
So we can now see Dune Analytics on Astar soon then.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
see. I see. But how do you see our collaboration could evolve? Like you mentioned about the increments. Like what do you
Hmm.
see like our partnership in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I think hopefully there's two ways. One
Mm-hmm.
is deeper integration. As we
Mm-hmm.
have more and more endpoints,
Mm-hmm.
the devs of A-Star will be able to build out more use cases with those endpoints. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I mentioned Class C endpoints as well. Like just now, I think A-Star Network himself asked me, can I find the sales data of NFT, right?
Yeah.
So that one with Class C endpoint, it'll cater to your use case. And
Yeah.
there's actually a lot of pockets of use cases that our endpoints do not. Oh, okay. Sean's question.
Yeah. But Astar Network is really passionate. He asks a lot of questions.
So there's a lot of use cases that our endpoints still do not cater to, and we hope to cover those blind spots and make the lives of A-Star developers easier
I see. So
in
this
the
is kind of
future.
my personal question though, but
Mm.
in my perspective, Covalent is more for the dev side, but making it like more easier to access data. But how do you see the collaboration with end users, like especially the community and the DGens who wants to, get in touch with the data?
So I think two ways. The first way is to try our analyst mode. And the analyst mode is fairly straightforward. You go to our API reference, and you just need to switch this from developer mode to analyst mode and try making a call to any of these endpoint, and this will populate a spreadsheet. So, which is downloadable. So all these can be analyzed using Excel whatsoever. That's the first way. The second way is perhaps wait for increment to come out, and then you can dip your hands into charts and different kinds of data. But that requires you to know a little bit of SQL. So it's a great time to also pick up some SQL skills if that's not your terrain as well.
Are you
Um,
planning to, optimize it like no code or like low code without having to write SQL, or is it going to be like you need to know some
yes,
kind of SQL?
I think there's going to be lots of dashboards
Uh-huh.
that will pin as well. So these dashboards will already generate those on-chain insights without you having to produce those dashboards.
I see, I see. That will be really convenient. I see.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
so I guess we're almost 45 minutes into the tech talks, and that's almost the time we planned. So if there's no
Awesome.
further questions, if you have any final words, Leaving about whoever wants to try out Covalent or for the developer documents, or yeah, if you have any final words, please share.
I think the Postman collection is a really good resource. One more thing I'm going to share with you is this Web3 resources that we've built out. If you're a developer working in React, you can very quickly implement some of the pages that you see, like wallet screen, like all the token holders, as well as all the ERC20 transfers. So you can quickly try it out, put it in your React app, and give it a go. You don't have to even worry about spinning up and piping all the data yourself. So that's another great resource to try. But yeah, I don't have any more questions or comments. I think this was a really great tech talk. Thanks, Ryo, for hosting this.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It's the first Acer Tech Talks, and we had almost more than 30 people showing up. So I'll say
Yeah,
it was
man.
a really good session, and we had a lot of fun exploring Astro Degens once again. So now people know the potential of Covalent. So hopefully we can
Yep,
evolve this partnership more. And yeah,
definitely.
so thank you guys for showing up today. It was a great time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Astar Network and Ryo, for having me.